Hey, we had some big news break last week, and we haven't really had a ton of time to talk about it on the show. The Pac-12 is back from the dead, officially expanding for the
Yeah.
2026 season. So Washington State and Oregon State announced that they will be adding Boise, Fresno, Colorado State, and San Diego State for the 2026 academic year. This is big news because it signals that the Pac-12 is wanting to remain a player in college athletics. We had the news a couple weeks ago that they will not be continuing their scheduling alliance for next year. Yet another alliance is thrown out the window in college football before it really even gets a chance to get going. But this is huge news for the Pac-12, Mitch.
It is. I'm very thankful after watching the Apple Cup. I'm very thankful that this conference is going to stick around. Obviously, not in its conference of champions, form of old, but the fact that we are keeping the Pac-12, and I don't know, the teams that they're bringing in preserve some form of regionality, but then you go to every group of five beat writers Twitter account, and they're saying, "Oh, we're in the running to join the Pac-12," and it's everyone from New Mexico to Tulane and FAU, basically. So it's all across the map. I think this is going to be an all-face conference as well by the time we're said and done. They do have to find two more teams at minimum to return to that full-fledged functionality as a championship conference. But yeah, I'm glad to see that it's going to live on. And I think there's going to be some growth that teams like Boise State, Colorado State can achieve in a power conference if they can reinstate it. They've got the athletic departments that I think can get them there.
Yeah, and the Oregon State athletic director before their rivalry game with Oregon said, "Hey, we're probably not going to stop at just the two that you mentioned. It's going to be potentially many more members." To me, this looks like they're trying to build an American out west, right? Like what the American was in the days that Cincinnati and UCF and Houston were still a part of that conference, just out west, and being the premier conference of that level below the Power Four. I don't think they have the ability personally, unless they get every single possible good brand out there. Like maybe they get Tulane, they get Memphis, they get UTSA, Texas State, all these up and coming G5 programs. Maybe that starts to tilt a little bit towards, the kind of like how the American wanted to brand themselves as the Power Six conference for a while there. That's the ceiling that I see for this new look Pac-12. I don't see them being considered a true power conference or their champion getting a bye in this new playoff format, but having a conference that's considered a conference and being eligible for that automatic bid is absolutely huge for whatever teams end up in this conference. So I guess throwing it back to you, who makes the most sense to you? You mentioned that every G5, and my dog is going crazy right now. Apologies. I'm going to let you talk and just tell me who makes sense while I get her out of this room.
I was going to say, it sounds like the dog is very unhappy to be listening to Pac-12 expansion talk. Pete Thamel just reported 45 minutes ago that Memphis has emerged as a top contender here. I don't know that there's many obvious candidates for expansion. I bet a team like UCLA, at least the football program, is kind of wishing they hadn't gone to the Big Ten.
I was going to bring up UCLA, and I know that it would be absolute just suicide from a financial standpoint. And it would be a rough look, but maybe like do you even consider that? If your football program goes 0-12 this year, I feel like you might want to consider it.
They're bad, man. And we've talked about it. Maybe it wasn't so much of a Chip Kelly issue, but I'm wondering if the school and the athletic director, they're going to be willing to invest in football if they're getting beat this badly on a week in, week out basis. Now, it's still early. Could they turn things around? Absolutely. Like, this is their coach's first year. He's a first-time head coach. Maybe they made a mistake going with the first-time head coach heading into the Big Ten. Separate issue. But I don't think in this world where money runs everything and championships, or at least competing, really take a backseat to the annual stipend that they're going to get from media revenue and from sponsorships. I don't know that a team like UCLA would do that. For Memphis, Great, I guess. They have a chance to become an alpha, I guess, of this new Pac-12 conference or whatever it would be, the Pac-8. But this conference is going to look really strange, I have a feeling, before it's all said and done. I think the next obvious team, at least from a regionality standpoint, is UNLV. That program is looking really good from a football standpoint. I don't know, I haven't dived into the TV markets, what it would make sense for from that standpoint, but I'd rather see a team like UNLV join the conference than a Memphis. On your end, this probably kills the Mountain West entirely, right? I mean, gosh, I don't know where they go from here if not just kind of into extinction.
I think so. And I think it's because a lot of people have pointed out that they could pull from the Big Sky or maybe pull in the Dakota schools. Like some people have even said that the Pac-12 should go after those schools. Mm-hmm. I'm not an insider on those programs. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. If you're a fan of those programs and follow it a lot closer than I do, it seems from the outside that they are very, very happy with their place in the college football ecosystem. Those Big Sky schools, the Montana schools, Idaho tried to be FBS at one point and they went down a level. The Dakota schools, they seem very, very content with being the top dogs of the FCS level. And they care about regionality. Like they care about the Big Sky. The Big Sky is a very strong, unified conference, at least from the outside looking in. I don't think the Mountain West, I don't think they give that up to go play in the Mountain West against, a team that Montana State went down and beat, a team like New Mexico, right? So I think that you're going to see several more Mountain West schools get plucked. I'm of the opinion that it's probably going to be UNLV, maybe Wyoming. I'm kind of go back and forth on Wyoming. I go back and forth on San Jose State because they kind of already have that market with Fresno. I don't know how much San Jose State actually adds.
Yeah.
But I think they'll probably add 3 or 4 more from the Mountain West and then try to cherry pick a few from around the country. After that, I feel like the Mountain West is probably going to get absorbed by the American. You mentioned in our run sheet that Air Force is looking heavily at the American. That makes a ton of sense from the standpoint of the Americans already in Texas and Oklahoma and really close to Colorado, and they get to play the other service academies in a conference game. So that makes a ton of sense for Air Force. Then after that, I could see Conference USA and the American kind of coming in and picking up the pieces a little bit and just kind of taking the scraps. And we go from a G5 to a G4, essentially.
Conference USA, in the best way possible, might be the cockroach of Division I college athletics. Like they just won't die. They go
get New Mexico. They go get Wyoming, maybe like Hawaii. I don't know. Like Hawaii, they have to be panicking right now because I have no idea where they fit in this landscape.
Imagine Hawaii having to play a conference game in Annapolis, Maryland. That is the stuff of nightmares. Then again,
they might drop football before they did that, to be honest with you.
Or
go down to like an FCS West Coast
playing the Big Sky. Yeah. Then again, if all these power conferences end up nuking each other and we have kind of a media holocaust, it might be Conference USA that's standing at the very end of all this. So they could be laughing when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, they've got their Tuesday night media deal. They've got regionality somewhat, I guess, for now, and maybe they reach out and be the true coast-to-coast conference. Who knows? Lots to be figured out there. We're going to be following it for you guys, and you can keep it locked here for all the latest updates. And, we'll get an official Pac-12 conference back relatively soon. That's exciting.
Gracious, how about that?